And welcome to Links Live's Natters, where we listen to the voices of Lincolnshire. I'm Lesley, and today's episode is one that carries both beauty and deep meaning. We're talking about the Garden of Hope, a powerful installation created to spark conversation around mental health and suicide prevention, and to remind us that even in the darkest moments, hope can still grow. Before we begin, we do want a gentle reminder to let our listeners know that this episode will include discussions of suicide. We'll be talking about it in a sensitive and responsible way. But if at any point you need to pause and take care of yourself, please do. So important to make sure you take care of yourself first. I'm honoured, absolutely delighted to be joined today by Jenni Swift from Evelyn's Butterfly Effect. Jenni, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Jenni, for our listeners who may or may not know, please tell us about Evelyn and how Evelyn's Butterfly Effect began.
Yeah, so Evelyn is my daughter, and she was the most beautiful person inside and out. She was intelligent, she was funny, really dry sense of humour. She's a teenager, into her makeup and her fashion, and but above everything, Evelyn was kind, and she was always thinking about other people. Evelyn really struggled with her mental health when she hit her teenage years, and unfortunately, in April 2022, Evelyn took her own life when she was just 15. My husband and I set up Evelyn's Butterfly Effect in her memory. Originally, we set out just to spread some kindness, and the butterfly effect being, one small act of kindness can ripple out and create big change. And that's how it started, and we've grown, and we decided that we couldn't keep quiet about mental health and suicide prevention, so we've just expanded what we do. So we're very much out there trying to start conversation around mental health and encourage social connection and kindness.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Sounds like we've gotten very well. And so thank you so much for sharing that with us. And, mental health is such a big topic, and, the more voices that are talking about it, the better. So thank you so much for what you're doing. So how did the Garden of Hope come to life?
So the Garden of Hope is an art installation, and it brings about statistics, but making it visible and starting those conversations. So we were involved with a charity called Campaign Against Living Miserably, CALM. Last year, we created a film about Evelyn in the suicide prevention space. And as part of that Missed Birthdays campaign with CALM, another part, as well as the film, was an art installation in the Westfield shopping centre in London of thousands of birthday balloons of missed birthdays. And each balloon represented a life lost to suicide in the last 10 years. And seeing the statistic and knowing, what's behind that, each person, each family affected, seeing that beautiful installation and what it represented was really impactful. And it kind of sparked the idea for the Garden of Hope and what we could create in Lincolnshire.
It's beautiful, and I can see the resonance with the balloons and carrying that on. That's beautiful. There are 98 butterflies in the installation. What does the number represent?
So we have 98 steel butterflies, and they represent 98 lives lost to suicide in just 1 year within Lincolnshire. So the statistics is taken from the Office of National Statistics, and it's the 2024 data, which is the latest data we have available. So 98 registered suicides in Lincolnshire in 2024. But more than that, it also represents the family and the friends and the co-workers and the ripples of grief that's spread from each of those 98.
And that grief that will go on forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's such a sad statistic, isn't it? And to think there's so much that we are able to do, but we need more voices.
Yes.
To get out there and share that message. So again, thank you for being that. Why butterflies? What does that symbolise me?
So, first of all, Evelyn loved butterflies when she was younger, and her bedroom used to have butterflies flying up the wall. So it was always a special symbol. And then when we set up Evelyn's butterfly effect, it was, the scientific kind of notion that one small flap of the wings here can create a hurricane over the other side of the world, and the idea that one small act of kindness can really have an impact for somebody and change the way that their day is going or their life. So the impact of the butterfly effect is really important to us. But more than that, with the butterflies for our installation and the importance of hope, the butterfly is really nature's way of saying there's hope. You start off as a hairy caterpillar, you go into a really dark place for a while, and you're in this goo in the dark, and you come out as this beautiful butterfly. It is, it's the perfect way to say, hang in there. I know it's dark right now, but things will get better.
Light's on its way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Fabulous. And what does it mean to see South Kesteven and the schools and the community all coming together to contribute to the installation?
So each of the butterflies has been painted and designed by either a school or a community group within the area, and it's been incredible to see that support. So we've had over 1,000 people involved in designing the butterflies for the installation, some whole schools that got involved in creative designs. And the youngest being 2 years old at a preschool. The oldest being residents at a retirement community who are considerably older than 2.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
Very much, right breadth of the community. We've had scout groups, football club, we've had an NHS trust, a dramatic society, primary school, secondary school, college. We've had so many different people involved in the installation, and all their designs are so different, and it's been so beautiful to see. But for myself and my husband Jack, it's been just so heartwarming that people want to get involved in the installation, and got that support from the community.
And that's that ripple effect you're creating, right? Because it's gone from you to then the whole community, raising that awareness, more voices talking about it, being aware about it.
Absolutely. We've created a school pack that went out so that they could help have those conversations as they're decorating the butterflies, and it has generated those conversations with students or with the community groups.
Fabulous. It's just brilliant. So the word suicide can feel heavy to many people. Why is it important that we talk about it openly and responsibly?
Well, for any listeners that have read Harry Potter, Hermione Granger talks about Voldemort and says fear of the name only increases fear of the thing itself. And that is so true for suicide, that people are so frightened of using the word in case it creates the idea in someone's head. But research says that's just not the case. That actually naming it, saying, are you feeling suicidal, actually increases someone's opportunity to seek help. So I think that it's just so important that we talk about it, and that we arm, young people. It's the leading cause of death in people under 35, more than car accidents, cancer, any other illness. So why are we not talking about it more? We need to arm our young people with the tools to help themselves.
Yeah, fabulous. And I just couldn't agree more. I'm a big advocate myself of being open, having them conversations. It's I think people underestimate the importance of it.
Absolutely. I think it's very British, isn't it, to be quite scared about having certain conversations and not knowing how to approach it. But a simple, how are you? How are you really? And encouraging that real response is so important.
Yeah. And I think sometimes you have to ask, like you just said, more than once.
Oh, yeah.
Multiple times before actually somebody will really release what's going on, rather than that British stiff upper lip.
Absolutely.
Like everything's okay. What would you love every visitor to walk away from feeling when they visited the Garden of Hope?
I guess two things. I'd like them to walk away feeling quite shocked with the statistic, and having that understanding of what a big risk it is for people. But I also want them to walk away with hope and seeing all the beautiful butterflies and their community coming together. I want them to walk away understanding that people want to be there to help.
But they don't feel alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've got people on their side. Yeah. I think they will. It's beautiful. So Jenny, if any of our listeners today needed to seek anything, what would you gently want to remind them of?
That there's always hope, even in the darkest times. When you can't see the light, rely on other people to help you find that light. There are always people around, even when it doesn't feel like that. And just to reach out for that help, but also about other people that aren't necessarily struggling themselves. If they're worried, reach in. That's just as important. We can't always expect someone that's struggling to reach out for help. So we as a society need to keep reaching in and checking on people.
Yeah, that check-in and knowing that it's stronger to ask for help.
Yeah,
it is a strength.
Absolutely.
Not a weakness. And I think that everyone thinks that it looks weak, but it's actually the most strongest thing you'll ever do.
It really is.
Brilliant. Okay, so the installation is touring some beautiful locations. What does the level of support mean to you? And what can visitors expect when they come to see it?
So the installation is currently at Belton House. It launched there last weekend. Belton House is a National Trust property. It's there for 6 weeks until April. I think it's the 18th or 19th. And then it moves on to Gunby Hall, which is another National Trust property, but further towards the East Coast. It's there for a few weeks before it goes to Ascafie Hall in Spalding. Then it goes down to Burley House in Stamford. Then it comes back up nearer Lincoln to Wisby Nature Park. And then the installation ends at Grantham House in the centre of Grantham, which is a venue. Although it's a National Trust property, it is free entry and it will be there for the whole of the summer until the end of September. The installation itself will be in a slightly different configuration in each venue it goes to. So I'm really excited to see the different layouts and how the butterflies look different at each installation. So currently at Belton House, they're amongst a sea of daffodils and it's absolutely stunning. It looks so beautiful. And they're all together. Whereas at Gunby Hall, they're going to be on the spring walk, which is amongst trees. There'll be tulips. And the idea is hopefully that we will be walking between them, so they'll be on each side of you, so it will be completely different.
Oh, I thought that's the reason why everyone should go and visit multiple times.
Yes.
At all the different locations, because that, if it's going to be set up slightly different, it's just going to bring a whole new feeling.
Yes.
Oh,
and when it comes to Wisby, near Lincoln, it's going to be near Thorpe Lake. So again, with the water, it's a completely different element and it'll look different again.
Like with the spring and the summer coming as well, it's just going to look, perfect. Oh, beautiful. So finally, what do you hope happens when someone stands in front of them beautiful gardens and installations and realises what it represents?
We've already had it happen, actually. When I was setting up the installation on Friday, we had a couple that came up to us and they were reading the information boards about what the installation was. And the lady said to me, "We saw you from afar setting up and it looked so beautiful and we were so intrigued, we wanted to come and see. And now we've read what it represents and I'm so shocked I didn't realise the figure for suicides in Lincolnshire was so high. I'm so shocked by that. But how amazing it is that the community's come together to do this. And I thought that conversation just encapsulated everything that we wanted for the installation. We wanted it to look beautiful, to intrigue people. And then when they get close, to have that moment of realization and that impact. So we know that that's already happening. It's incredible to see.
Oh, beautiful. And it's opening up them conversations. So that couple will then take that back to their family, have that conversation, talking about that beautiful installation.
Yeah.
And that's that pollination, that's the the ripple effect of what you're creating.
And another example is there was a couple of ladies that met over the weekend, and they had both lost their sons to suicide, and they had happened across the installation. They didn't know that it was there. They didn't come specifically to see it, but they lost their children quite a few years ago, over 2 decades ago. And there's so much stigma still, but there was even more stigma then. And so they were profoundly moved by the installation, that we were talking about it, that we're bringing it into the open and starting that conversation. And it's giving me goosebumps now thinking about that. But that's exactly it. So it's not just starting new conversations, it's actually giving permission to other grieving families that we can talk about it. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
No, not at all. And I completely agree. As a mother of a son, it was always something that was in my mind, and I've because it is so prevalent and it's so easy to hide sometimes. And you're saying about reaching and checking in, and that couple from a couple of decades ago losing their children, and how much they've probably hurt on their own.
Yes.
And not have that community because it was so stigmatized. So to have that for them now.
Yeah.
That little bit of relief that you've brought to them through what you've created, that's an amazing impact. Decades of pain, being alone, and now they're able to feel community support.
Yeah, I really hope that they felt that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So, Jenni, do you want to give out the information? And if people want to follow your journey for your project?
So we are Evelyn's Butterfly Effect. We are on Instagram and Facebook at Evelyn's Butterfly Effect.
Fantastic. And so, Jenni, thank you so much for being here sharing that today. It has been quite emotive. I've had to keep myself under control, as I'm sure you have felt the same. And I just want to, on behalf of all of us, we're so grateful for you for doing what you're doing. As I said earlier, under the circumstances, just phenomenal. So thank you so much. Takes so much courage and heart, and to create something so beautiful from so much potential pain, the pain and anguish. So thank you. So for all our listeners, just in case, the installation has been launched, as we were talking about, at Belton Estate, and we'll continue to tour across Lincolnshire, the venues you mentioned. So thank you for letting us know. You can find full details of all the locations and dates on the Evelyn Butterfly Effect Facebook and Instagram page. And we'll also be sharing the information on our website at linkslivesnatters.com. So please do go take a look at the Instagram, Facebook for Evelyn's Effect, and also for Links Lives Matter. You will find it all. If today's conversation has raised anything for you, please remember, as we've been saying, you are not alone. You can contact Samaritans free on 116 123. I'll say that again, 116 123. Or visit samaritans.org for support. Please reach out if you feel the need to, or you feel that there's somebody that you need to support. A huge thank you, as always, to our brilliant The Links Lives Natters team for all being here, whose work quietly behind the scenes to make sure these important conversations are recorded and shared with care and truly couldn't do this without you. We need to make sure these stories are shared. They're so important to our local area and supporting us. We talked about community so much in this conversation, and that's what this channel is all about. So thank you to all of our listeners for continuing your support. for these important stories, because they really do matter. That's been Links Lives Natters, where we listen to the voices of Lincolnshire. Take care of yourself and hold on to hope.